Welcome to the Speak Her Podcast with your host, Camille Essick, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Camille Essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. What I need you to do right now is hit that notification bell and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Camille.Essick. Also at the Speaker Podcast. If you haven't done so, hit that notification and subscribe. Follow us over on YouTube. We have amazing things coming up. We had Heart and Soul 2025 last week. It was just an amazing time. I sat down with an amazing group of brothers and we had a great conversation about love, relationships, dating, marriage, and mental health. And what I love, not just for the conversation, yes, the conversation, but this was my number one season opener to date so far. That episode has now reached over 1,200 views across Facebook and YouTube. And I'm so excited about that, because I've done season openers, but it just drew in so many viewers and listeners. The episode is now streaming. I just published it this week on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora. So if you're on the go, you can also tap in and listen to that there as well. And I'm just so excited about everything. So that being said, we're going to jump into everything. My sis is here, Whitney Victoria. She's back. She's a celebrity stylist, podcaster, author, all things glam. My girl is here. Whitney, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Kim. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sis.
For some reason, I can't hear you.
Oh, wow. Because we were just talking. I can hear you, though.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna lie back out and lie back in.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna keep talking to the people. And that's the thing, y'all, about technology. Things happen and that's fine. But like I was saying, Heart and Soul, we capped out. I'm still counting the dashboard as far as the views on that. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's supporting me. Again, I want to shout out and thank you to all the panelists that tapped in. It was a really good conversation. Shout out to everyone that was in the comments. If you didn't catch the live, if you saw the replay, everyone that shared, commented, and posted, I want to say thank you so much. But as for me checking the last count, we were right at 1,200 and counting, and so I'm super thankful about that. Yes, we can hear you,
and we're back.
Yes, and we're back. And it was just really good. And so here we are getting deeper into the new season of the Speaker Podcast. And I was like, I gotta have my sis. Y'all don't know, like this lady, this girl right here, we are thick as thieves. We go back like Cadillac seats. This is my sis, my day one, my girl, Whitney Victoria, celebrity stylist. If you've ever seen me in that red lip, this is the creator of Victorious is the name of the color, the Whitney Victoria collection. Whitney, we're going to talk about all the things. Welcome back to the Speaker Podcast.
Yes, Kim, I'm so happy to be back. First of all, thank you so much for having me, giving me a voice to be on the platform. I appreciate you. You know, we go, we like 2014, 2015.
No, actually it's 2013.
Oh, we've been in there. We've been in there. Yeah. And thank you, and I love you. And I'm happy to be here. And I'm so proud of you, and just to watch your growth and elevation of the podcast from the same woman that was afraid to talk on camera and is
Go ahead and air me out. Go ahead and air me out.
And I'm just so proud of you, Cam, and congratulations on another season. You make me proud.
Thank you so much. And the thing is, you've been here for every season.
Yeah.
Even when before I was doing the live, we were just streaming. Your episode was Black Girl Magic.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah. And those that missed it, you can go catch that after this. It's out there. So first of all, those that are not familiar, I think I introduced you, but let the people know. Like,
okay,
let's air out the resume and the receipts. Let's do it.
What one thing, listen, get you some people in your corner that's gonna hype you up. Okay. They're not gonna hype up foolishness, they're gonna hype up the real.
Not
Okay. But yes, I appreciate you, Cam. Again, everyone, I'm happy to be here. My name is Whitney Victoria. I'm a style curator, wife, mom, newly podcaster. What am I? I feel like I'm multifaceted.
you're an
Author,
author.
yes. I feel like I'm multifaceted, so I don't just want to limit myself to just a few things. But I can do pretty much. I don't want to say everything, but I can do a lot.
And you're a beauty curator. You have your lippy.
And I am wearing my lipstick now, Victorious, from the Whitney Victoria collection. Y'all, you got to get it. The red, it stays on 24 hours and counting. Okay, you got to scrub it.
Listen, it's so good. And I'm not just saying this. It's actually hard to take off. Like you can take it off and wake up in the morning and you may still see a little residue on your lip. Like it stays. And when I want that nice red pop lip, like pow, like boom, that's what I go to. So if you go through my social if you go through my social media, this is how we act like this all the time. But if you go through my social media and anytime I've worn a red lip, it's hers. And it's vegan, it's cruelty free. The packaging is beautiful, very sleek, very mild. I'm on my third tube.
Yes. And first of all, Kim, you are an amazing ambassador. Okay. Because even when I'm not promoting the lipstick, my girl is like, you're going to get this Whitney Victoria collection Victorious. Okay. Period.
It's that good. I'm like, why is she not pushing this? It's actually like really good. And I would put it up against any major like brand. And I'm not saying that it's really that good. You can wear it as a matte. I'm not lying. I can't lie. You ain't supposed to be lying. That would not be pleased. You can wear it as a matte, a semi-gloss, full gloss. If you want to do the red ombre, if you want to make it a pinky tone, you can add more of a creamy nude lipstick and make it to like a pink. You can play with it. Or if you want it darker, do like a dark brown liner and mix it up and make it rich and like a burgundy. It's fun.
For sure. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So, girl, what's been going on? Like, we haven't talked in a minute. So, how are you doing? What's new in Whitney's world? Like, let us know.
What's new in Whitney's world? I actually like that. I like that. Like I said, newly podcasting. So I launched the Style and Grace podcast this year, January 1st, and super excited about that. That was a long time coming. I had that vision for about 5 years, almost 5 years, and to finally launch it, it's just amazing. It's just a blessing to finally see something that I had written down almost 5 years ago coming to fruition. It feels really, really good. And also just getting back into the content world, because your girl is coming for these brand deals. Okay.
Yes. And like I see how you are curating style on social media, TikTok, and I'm loving the 80s, 90s chic, because that's where we are right now. And I think, and this is just leading into our conversation, where Black people are mentally as a culture because of what's happening, we're finding that warm fuzzy in the 80s and 90s. And we're seeing it in the clothes, the music. Like myself right now, I'm on season 2 of A Different World. Because it just takes me back to when because A Different World came out in 1987. I'm dating myself. I was 7 years old. And so to see these Black people, and that was the first time I saw Black people in college. My crush was Dwayne Wade, because it was Dwayne. Yes, because I always like really smart guys, right? And I was like, oh, he's cute, but he's so smart. He's an engineer. He's good with numbers, and just I loved it. And so it is the reason why I went to college. It's the reason why I joined a sorority. And then you look at shows like Hey Pastor Bellinger, like the Cosby Show, where Martin, he was in the Navy. Like I could have been a Cosby kid because I did all the things. I went to college, I joined the military, I joined a sorority, lived on campus. I was an RA. Like Jaleesa and Whitley. It was such an influential show. And I think just for us as a people, just to be in that space right now, the living single and the girlfriends, and so when you're curating the style, what is for you, Whitney, about the 80s and 90s that just draws you in?
This is so crazy because I just did a podcast with Tamara and Pusha C on Looking in the Mirror podcast. And I literally just explained to them that my style is a mixture of the 80s and the 90s. It's just that feeling, like you and I, like you were talking about the different world and living single and also in living color. I talked about that in a podcast. Those colors, like the 80s and 90s, it just gave you that feeling. Like I just can't even explain. Like we are wearing, the 80s and 90s fashions now. And it's just something about, it's like, it's bold, it's colorful, you know, I can't even explain it. I just feel
I
so
think there were
comfortable in
rules, but there
it.
were no rules. There was like
No
no
rules.
rules.
No
Eclectic.
rules.
It was like style, but it was eclectic.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can dress it up and dress it down. If I want to wear some butters, aka Timberlands, with the bamboo earrings, I can still pull that out today. And they're like timeless looks. And that's one thing I love about the 80s and 90s. And that's why 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see me with a blazer on. You're gonna see me with the glasses on, the big hair, or even a bob. The 80s and the 90s, the girl loved the bob and the knee long haircuts. But
The
it just
pixies,
resonates with
yeah,
me.
yeah,
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 I love the 80s and 90s fashion. Love, 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 love,
absolutely.
love.
So when you are looking at pieces, um garment pieces, what are things, because we've had this conversation and you have worked on me to pull me out of my little conservative box as far as getting, girl, you need some animal print. And so we're looking at patterns and pieces for someone like me that tends to be stylish but more conservative. What do you advise for those of us looking to kind of pop out a little more with their different patterns and textures?
And just start little by little, because everything is not for everyone. And what's for you is for you. You will know when you put it on. I know we have so many trends and styles, but we don't have to follow the trends. If you want to try a little animal print, start with a little belt, or start with a blazer and then work your way into it. Because everybody doesn't want print. Some people may want like a sequins, you know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the person.
Got you. I have really fallen in love with color blocking, and I
Mm-hmm.
love mixing and matching colors that you would never think like, "Oh, that's cute," you know?
Yes.
And so finding that, and one of the things that has helped me is Pinterest. And I've gone in Pinterest and typed in a color, and it's giving me all these options, and from there, like you say, shop your closet, right?
Shop
You've
your
told me, shop
closet.
your closet, and so I've gone in and like, "Well, I have this, I have that," and then I'll see something you do, and I'm like, "I have that. Let me try to this a little bit," I pull it off in my way, and so I'm looking more to step out a little bit more in 25. I'm down 11 pounds,
I
so
know that's right.
I have a pair of jeans I haven't worn in 2 years, and I got them on today. I was like,
Yep. She doing what she's supposed to do. And another note, Pinterest is really great for those that don't know that don't know where to start with their style. Go to Pinterest. You can type up black girl outfit, black girl office outfit,
yes,
for my African American girls. Even if you're going on vacation, I remember I went to New Orleans. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna go to New Orleans wearing like heels and sandals, and then I went to Pinterest. I was like, I don't know, be wearing no heels and no sandals in New Orleans. But Pinterest I feel like can be your go-to to help creating your style if you don't have the means for a stylist at the moment, or if you just don't want to hire a stylist, you can actually go to Pinterest and it'll help you curate looks.
absolutely. And we're always bringing up mental health. So when, especially us as women, as Black women, we have these highs and lows, and then we're looking at
Oh
where we are
yes.
culturally and just life in general. Can you touch on one, how you feel about yourself impacts how you show up in the fashion space?
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. First of all, mental health is important. I know we're in this society where you have to go, 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 go. You got to show up. You got to do this. You got to be strong. And as Black women, we show up all the time, even when we don't want to show up. And it's
Mhm.
kind of like, I don't. I saw this young man on TikTok, and I believe he was Indian, and his mom had told him, like, if you ever get in trouble, you know, find a black woman, find a black woman. And you remember that?
Yes.
And it's like, I love that, but it's also, that's a lot of pressure on us too. And it can also create some mental challenges as well, because we feel like we are carrying the world. We're wives, we're moms, we're students, we do so much, you know what I'm saying? But I also do feel in the fashion world, once you get up and put some clothes on, you feel a little bit better too.
Yeah, I agree. And then to my second question to that is, what do you say to women that are currently in their valley and not just throwing on a bonnet and slides and really they've just allowed the weight and the cloud of life to just neglect, and we've all been guilty of it.
Oh my
But
God.
what words of encouragement do you have to those out there, as far as they may be in this space as a mom, a wife, a lot is on them. Maybe they don't feel supported, or
Mhm.
just drained, and always, as you mentioned, just pouring out. What are your thoughts on those? And what do you have to say to those listening and watching that may be in that space?
I would say you shouldn't be alone. I know when we get in those spaces, we want to be by ourselves and we want to go MIA, but it is important that you have community. I would also say seek counseling or a therapist. And, if you're a believer, God first, a counselor, therapist, then community. Because as much as we want to be strong and I got it, no, you need community. We're not, put on earth to do life alone. Because I know for myself, like if I've gone through trials and I'll pull away, or because Cam, you would text me, you like, hey, I'm just checking in. I love you. I'm like, so I'm good. Just, going through, you like, I already know, but I'm here, I'll
Yeah.
pull up if I need to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do life alone. Again, for your believers, God first, therapist or counselor, and then your community. Um, because some people can handle it and get out of it by themselves. But I know what it's like, to have someone to help you and to have someone pray for you, when you couldn't pray for yourself, when you're really in that deep valley. I was telling a friend of mine, I got to a point where I felt like I was being buried alive, and things just kept piling up, on me. And it wasn't a good space for me. But there were people in my corner, like you, and that, were praying for me, reaching out, and it definitely did help.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that really matters, as far as having those people around you. Even if we don't talk every day, you know
Mhm.
who you can pull on to say, hey, can you send one up for me? And
Yes.
it's great to have your friends that you laugh and talk with, but when you're going through it, I need somebody with a prayer life. I
Oh
need
yeah, for
somebody that
sure.
can tap in. I need someone that, if I'm going to do something, or I'm on the verge of doing something that's putting my future, my purpose at stake, or that could risk, put things on the line. Hey, don't do that.
For
I
sure.
know you're
For
you're
sure.
you're emotional right now, but what you're about to do can ripple into your future. I need you to, hey,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so what has that been for you when you feel like you are on the verge of, in that emotional reactive state, and just be like, "Imma burn it down." Like Angela on Waiting to Exhale, like, what is what really, just like that tap on the shoulder had, "Hey, look at me, stop." What was that like
Um,
for you?
I had to get back centered with God, because sometimes when life be life in, you can either go towards God or you can pull away. And I found myself pulling away. And then, for this is for believers only, our answers are in the word of God. I wasn't trying to open up my Bible. I wasn't trying to hear from God. I wasn't trying to pray. I was really trying to figure out things on my own. And as I was trying to do that, I was, digging myself deeper and deeper, in a hole, mentally. And then, of course, community. the prayer, and then, you know what, Lord, I don't like why I'm trying to do this. You know, uh, why am I trying to fight this battle? These are not my battles to fight. Let me just go ahead and pass this on to you. I posted on Threads a few days ago. I was like, I remember I went from wanting to nook if you book to like, God, you know what? This all you.
Like knucking your book to praise is what I do.
that exactly. For real though.
Yeah, I think we've all been there, and I think for me, sis, I went through a phase where I was angry because I felt like nobody advocated for me. And that I'm like, God, don't you see me going through all this? And I didn't
Oh
feel
my
vindicated.
gosh.
I didn't feel vindicated, right? And I didn't feel advocated for. And so I felt like, well, since, God didn't say anything and no one stood up for me, I got me, you know. But that was the pitfall as well. Because just because you don't see God moving doesn't mean he's not moving.
That is so true. That is so true. But you have to be grounded to know that, because sometimes we get so caught in our mess, we're not even, focusing on what God is doing in that moment. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. But like you said, he kind of let me go through that, and then I came around, was like, okay, I'm gassed out. Okay, God, you take it. You're like, finally, but it's like that little kid sometimes that's running around and it's their nap time, but sometimes you just gotta let them gas out and they just fall out on the floor with cookie in their mouth.
Yep.
And then you come and pick them up, And so I think just seeing your journey, and we have done life together. And
Listen.
y'all, there's just been
Listen.
times where
Let me drink this water. Where I told God, I said, look, God, I need my tithes and my offering back.
let's talk about this. Like, Whitney, I have never asked for my tithes back.
I sure did.
Wait a minute, friend.
I sure did.
You asked for the 10
And this
back?
ain't have nothing to do with the church. It was God. It was. Let me drink a little bit more water.
Yeah, go on and hydrate. So you asked for the 10%.
It have anything. No, I didn't ask. I told God. I said, give me all my tithes and offering back that I gave to your church. I said, because I'm out here doing the best that I can, and I'm going through this. I'm like, this, the situation I was going through. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on? Like, I was like, God, you said no weapon formed against me shall prosper, but it looked like the weapon is prospering. So what's up? I'm like, so God, are you for me or are you not? Because the evil is evil, and the evil seem like they're rising up. And I was like, I remember I said, I want to pray to your God. I ain't paying no tithes and no offering. I don't want anything to do.
Hold on, time out.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Girl.
2019 to be exact.
I wish I had known. Keep going.
Cam.
Okay.
Cam, we can't release the story yet, but
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. But just when you say it out loud, like we have had some offline conversations, but when it's magnified in this space, it's just like, she really said this.
I did. And what's so crazy, I don't know how I was gonna get the money back. I'm just like, God, run me my tithes and offering back. And I don't know who said, and the person was like, the tithes and offering didn't belong to you anyway, it belonged to God. And I was like, oh, excuse me. But I didn't want to hear that at the time because I was upset, I was frustrated, I was angry, I was hurt. I wasn't bitter. I was just really, really angry and frustrated. And I'm just like, Lord, and I wanted to take revenge into my own hands because I'm like, Jesus, Lord, what is going on? You're taking too long.
So what was the breaking point after you walked in all audacity in the face of the Almighty? Like, what was your breaking point? First of all, if y'all have not liked, tagged, shared, commented, shame on you, because this is really, and this is raw, it's honest, it's transparent. You need to do so. So Whitney, what was the breaking point for you where you were just like, I'm sorry, like your repentant state? Like, how did you get to that point?
It took a while because 2019, 2020, 2021, like it just kept going on and on and on. I remember I was in Target and I saw one of my friends who doesn't live here anymore, and she was in Target, and I was just like, and she was asking me how I was doing, and I thought, I just feel like I'm in a Job season. I'm like, I'm not Job. I'm like, I am not Job. Why is God testing me all the time? Like, I'm not bothering anybody. I'm literally going home. I'm in my shell. I'm just like, Lord, I'm raising my kid. Like, Lord, what's up? And my friend looked at me and she said, how are you going to tell God, what season you in? Or she said something like, what if this is your Job season? And I was like, okay. Like, I heard her tell me that, right? I was still feeling how I was feeling. But eventually my heart posture would change. Eventually. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't, a few days or a week. My heart posture really had to change. Because it was just thing after thing after thing. And I know some things we can cause on our own, but this one I ain't had nothing to do with. And I'm like, Lord, what's the problem? But God shifted around. And once my heart posture changed, I went from wanting to seek revenge to having a heart that's grieving what was being done. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I think, sis, for me, it was the Job season, but I say it was my Joseph season. Because I was thrown in a pit by people I loved, being in prison, but also a purging process, because when we have words spoken over our lives and God has declared a thing for our lives, when He is preparing that for us and that thing for us and us for it has to be in a space to where it cannot be corrupted. The blessing cannot be corrupted. And sometimes we can have people around us that if He gave it to us now, they're going to feel entitled to part of it. Or maybe we won't appreciate it, or we abuse it, or we let it run through our fingers before. Or even things in our heart posture to where we'll have like a flex spirit. Like, the showboat spirit, the clapback spirit. And so sometimes He has to take us through those things to sever us from them, but also sever some things out of our heart.
Oh, for sure.
So when it comes, we know how to use it for the kingdom. We know how to be a blessing to those around us, but also create a space that, you know what? Even though you did what you did, I still have a heart to bless you.
Okay.
That's why I say it's my Joseph season, because you don't know the blessing that's going to come down. That's going to be a lifeline.
For sure.
And so He was showing me that, and He was like, I have to process you this way. Even though it doesn't make sense now, He's like, I have to take you this way.
That's good, Cam.
And so I went from being angry and mad and frustrated and bitter to now I'm like, all right.
God, that's all you.
Yeah. And we've had conversations where I've been on the phone with you in tears, like, why? And going through those things now. And He's just like, and it's also a place of proving, because if we say who we are in God and, we're daughters of Zion, and we say all these things, he's got to prove it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's got to take you through the fire and take out those impurities, but also it's to make you brighter, to make you stronger. And just when this thing is done, Whitney, like, and you got a glimpse of that when you were talking to some women in that situation. And you could have been in that situation in tears, but even in that situation, you were encouraging other women.
I really, really was. To God be the glory. I didn't want to either. I didn't even want to encourage them, but I did. You know, and they were like, well, can you pray? And I'm just like, girl, I don't want to pray to your God because your God it seemed like your God got me here, but you're right. It was all a part of the process.
I just your end game, your end story, that chapter, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna, when we look back, like the old people say, we look back over our life and just for what is coming to you, I'm excited for you.
Oh man, I receive it.
I'm excited for you.
I receive it. I feel like it's been a long time coming. Jesus.
It's coming for you, because even in that, the times you didn't want to show up, you did show up.
I showed up. And no one knew what was going on, Cam. Except, you know, the inner circle. No one knew what was going on. And I'm like, you know what? That's saying, you know, Lord, I don't look like what I've been through. It hits different now, for real.
It don't look like what I'm going through.
Okay.
Yeah. But that brings us to style and grace, right?
Yes.
And when we go through things with style and grace, first of all, break down and describe, what does style and grace mean to you?
Oh, style and grace is who I am. Style and grace is how I handle situations. Style and grace is my character. Because there were times, even when you want to act a little bit, you know, it's like that conviction in you that won't even let you do certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's like you set apart, so you're not even gonna step that way. So style and grace is me.
And with you, how did that inspire you to get into the podcast space?
Okay, so 2019, 2020, I wrote, let me see if I thought I had my notebook with me. I don't have my note. Oh, it's somewhere around here, y'all. But I wrote out that I wanted to launch a podcast. It was 2019, 2020. I wrote out all my guests. It was like 13 weeks worth of content. I had all my guests, who I wanted, what we were going to talk about. And at the time, the podcast was named Whitney's Colorful Conversations. It was named that. And I reached out to Jess, you know, shout out to Jessica Janae with the Jessica Janae podcast. And I was like, hey, sis, I want to start a podcast. I need to get a mic. Like, what mic I need to get? And she was like, you know what? Don't worry about no mic. I got you. I'm going to get a mic to you. She doesn't live in the same city as I do. So I met her mom maybe like a day or two later with the mic. That was 2020. Of course, COVID happened. Because in my mind, I'm like, I got a story to tell. I'm about to tell it. The whole world about to know.
Just put it on blast.
Yeah, right. But see, in that moment, I was operating out of flesh. You know what I'm saying? I was unhealed. I was angry. I was walking in unforgiveness. I'm glad the podcast didn't launch at that time, because we have as influencers, we have a responsibility of what we're putting out into the world. And had I launched during that time, I would have been putting out hate. I would have been putting out unforgiveness. I probably would have been knucking and bucking. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely thank God for deliverance from that, and also just from healing. I'm still healing, still going through the process of healing. But wanted to launch then, like I said, it was Whitney's Colorful Conversations. Kept putting it on hold, you know, things just kept happening, life in 2021, 2022, 2023. I'm like, Lord, what is it going to do? And I was talking to another friend of mine, and I was like, hey, you know, I think I was telling her about the podcast. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to change the name from the podcast, from Whitney's Colorful Conversations to the Style and Grace podcast. Because I launched some merch at the time as well. And so the plan was to, the merch, podcast, and some other things that relate to the incident that we know about. And then I just kept putting it on a back burner. Me, you know how I am, Kim, waiting for things to be perfect, waiting for the perfect time. I gotta have this. This has to look like this, and excuses on top of excuses, right? But things don't have to be perfect in order for God to use you and your voice. And
Launch
I'm so
ugly.
glad that my friends Mona and Kendra, they were like, listen, you need to go ahead and launch. I already had like my art cover already worked out. I'm already made up. And I was trying to find something wrong with the cover, Cam. Nothing was wrong with it. I was like, oh my God, I want to launch. Oh, I don't like it. Like it was just horrible how I was acting. But long story short, they was like, Whitney, just go ahead and launch it. I edited, made the trailer. It took me maybe a collective like 3 hours. And I'm like, man, I could have did this a long time ago. You're like, why did I wait so long? But everything happens in its appointed time. And the Style and Grace podcast officially launched on January the 1st. I'll be on my 5th episode next week. The episodes come out bi-weekly. It is lifestyle, parenthood, mental health, and more. Solo podcast, but I do plan on having guests. So yeah.
And I got you. So
And do.
it's all good. But I'm excited for you. I'm also glad that despite the process, in spite of the process, you are here. You're at this point and it's a journey. And Lord knows y'all fought me to get to this point. Because I think about first of all, shout out to the OG gang of Power 5. And we had a session. We were in Dallas. And that night we were sitting around talking, and y'all went in on me in that incubated session because I wasn't showing up in my full self.
Mm-hmm.
I was hiding. I was shrinking. Y'all, I was in tears, literally crying because I was mad. They were right. But my confidence was in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did not feel that I had something to say that people want to listen to. I questioned my value, my worth. It was just a lot. And so when you have people around you that love you and speak to not only you in the present, but the future self, those are the type of people you need around you. And they just stayed on me. Hey, you need to do this. You need to get out there.
Yeah.
And I went kicking and screaming, but I'm here. And looking back on it now, it's just like, wow. And so relating that to your story with, I think even though your heart posture was not where it was like it is now, you're still here and you're going forward and you're sharing these journeys and stories to inspire other women, other creatives, other stylists in the digital space. We need that right now, especially as Black women. And we see what the narratives out here. And after everything, we're just like, you know what? Tired. We have fought and advocated for everyone. And I think we're in a time and a space where it's like, no, this one's for us. It's our story, our journey, our sisterhood, our connection, our encouragement. And getting back to us, I think, is what we need right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that being said, like, I think for you, the voice that you're bringing, the way you're showing up, the way you're creating, the way you're styling, the storytelling through the podcasting, the digital space. Even though there's so many podcasts out here, even for me, but it's the way you do it. And there's so many other wives and mothers that are and will be able to resonate with you, with what you're doing. And even as you curate each episode, and just to see the evolution of where this goes, I think it's going to be amazing for you.
So. Oh, Kim, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's going to be great. Because for what I do, nobody can do what I do the way I do it. But the way you do what you do, nobody can do it the way you do it. And so I know people are like, why do you have another podcast? First of all, there's enough out here for everybody.
That part. That part.
Um, that's my sis, number one. So we're not even, that's not no question. Number two, I want my audience to go find and follow you, but just because I have a space and I have a platform doesn't mean I don't open up. That's what we do here, innovators and creators.
Absolutely.
And that's what you do.
Absolutely.
And so I want everyone to follow you and show up on your platform as well and tap in. And just as I've asked people to support my podcast, I want you all please continue to support me, but support my sis and her.
Thank y'all.
And we want to
Yeah.
welcome her into the podcasting space as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, because we are not selfish and stingy over here. Okay.
That part. Mm-mm.
So with everything else going on, do you have any like nuggets or gems for the listeners and viewers, and just anything last minute takeaways, and then also what's new for you, what's coming up, what's on the horizon, and then also where listeners and viewers can contact you on social media?
Okay. Takeaways, I would just say, if you're someone that's in a Job season right now, your Job season is not in vain, and you will come out of it. A lot of times, because I was one person, I was just like, why did God feel like, why did he choose Job? Because he took everything away from Job. I didn't lose as much as Job lost, but the hurt was there. But the growth, the spiritual growth, and the heart posture that came out of my Job season, it let me know that it wasn't in vain. Because when you guys hear the story, you'll understand that my testimony, it wasn't for me. It's definitely for someone else. So what you're going through, it may not be for you. It may be for someone else. And I believe the word says we overcome by the power of our testimony. So yeah. And then also up on the horizon, of course, it's the Style and Grace podcast, available on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. I think I want to do a live show. It's not going to be anytime soon because I know we have a prom and graduation season coming up. So I definitely want to, plan that accordingly. So just stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's about it for right now.
Absolutely. And then your Instagram information?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at I am Whitney.Victoria threads. I am Whitney.Victoria Facebook. I am Whitney. Well, no, Whitney Victoria. So yeah. You can email me at styleandgracepod@gmail.com if you have any questions or any topics you want to hear on the podcast. And yay, Cam, I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome, friend. Y'all, this has just been a great conversation. Whitney, hang on. Those that if you missed the live and you're catching the replay, thank you for joining us. And we hope that you got
Yeah.
something from this. I have released my latest ebook last Friday, To Black Men with Love, and I've done updates on the website. So slide right over to CamilleEssick.com and check out the newest and the latest. Y'all know I'm always working on something. So I'm working on something else behind the scenes, and I'm looking to make that announcement in the next couple weeks. Y'all pray for me because I'm really nervous because it's just like I'm jumping off the porch and it's scary. And they say, it's God when it's bigger than you. So this thing is bigger than me because I'm like, this is growing in ways I never could imagine. So
Yeah.
y'all pray for your girl, okay?
It will. It will.
Absolutely. So be sure to follow me online. And Instagram at Camille.Essick. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, The Speaker Podcast. I would love to hear from you. Send me an email at thespeakerpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a pop-up episode that we're doing tomorrow night the Queen of Choirs, LaShawn Chandler, is stopping by. She has worked with Ricky Dillard, a lot of big names in the gospel industry, and she's my sis. And so we're gonna have like a sister pop up. It's gonna be a good conversation. So that'll be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. There is the graphic for that right now. So be sure to tap in and catch that conversation for the Friday night pop up. And I'm looking forward to the conversation. And then next week, Rashonda Pratt is sliding through. And you know, when Dr. Rowe comes through, it's a really good time. So I'm really looking forward to that. And Whitney, thank you again for coming and sitting down with me as we get into this Season Speaker podcast. Every time you come, it's just a warm fuzzy. So thank you. I know your schedule is busy, but I really appreciate you, your friendship and sisterhood over the years. Like, to think like it's been 12 years. And
Yes.
and we kind of like grew up together, and that, you know, coming through out of the late 20s and sliding on, like we've really grown in our young adult years. Like, that's young. We've done young adulthood together.
We did. We really did life together, for real.
Yeah.
For
So
real.
I just appreciate you just rocking with me through all of the stuff.
As I appreciate you. I love you, girl.
I love you too. I'm not gonna cry because I'll cry in a heartbeat. So I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap it up right now. So y'all, this is Camille Essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast, the podcast where innovators, creators connect. And I will see you all tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for our Friday night pop-up. Be blessed. Love you all. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Speaker Podcast. Be sure to follow Camille on Instagram at camille.essick, Facebook at the Speaker Podcast, or www